Hello Commanders, welcome to the command table. This is Matt, and I have my attempts for Wicker from this morning. We also have one from Enifant that will show you how the melee swarm is doing with Primal Warhorn. Before we get into that, if you would please be so kind as to like, subscribe, and if you want notifications when I drop new videos, be sure to hit that notification bell. Also, if you have any questions, comments, or if you have a fun build you want us to try, go ahead and leave that below. We also have the command table Discord channel, so you can hop on there and see the most current strat. We are always updating the strategy over the course of the next 2 days, trying to find ways to save elixirs and make it less expensive. So check that out, and we will now dive right in. This is Enifant's raid strat that he submitted earlier this morning. He's switched to a range build now, but this will show you how much the Primal Warhorn has been nerfed, and it actually was very fortuitous that he shared this so that I didn't have to spend a key on it. But you'll notice that he has a couple of lucky spear strikes which do hit the minions, and that's what pushes him over the top. So it's a very, very close call. You'll notice 25% left, and there's that spear strike that gets him right there at the end. So the Primal Warhorn is just nerfed almost to the point where it's just not worth using anymore. We do have the buff from the Elixir of Accuracy, however, and this is going to be two different attempts, one with the Ring of Unity over here, and the next one with the phylactery. This is Ring 4, and my phylactery is rank 2, so you'll be able to see the difference between those. But this will run through the stats real quick so you can see the stats of all the artifacts and what power stones I'm using. Since we're doing a range build and we don't have to worry about getting killed by anything other than the earthquake, I've put block and reload on most things. The Frost Knights have damage because they can't use reload, and that should be about the only notable things there. Oh, I've got immunity on those hammer throwers. I'll have to update that. Anyway, you'll notice much higher pace of damage compared to previous Wickers with the ranged build that I did there, and that huge buff on the Elixir of Accuracy is to thank for that. It used to be only 200%. Before that it was only 25%, but now it's up to 750%. And look at that. One hit from Spear Strike and you can take out half the health of the boss, especially if it hits one of those frozen units. So I can explain a little bit more about that now that we're going to look at the phylactery one. I do have two groups of Frost Knights that I put up in the front, and that's to apply freeze to as much of the front line as possible with as few points as possible. And here, okay, yeah, notice the phylactery level 2. So we're going to let this one run through. It looks like it's about the same pace, but it does increase every 3 seconds to where the attack speed just gets faster and faster. So, yeah, you notice the pace picking up very substantially. And you don't have to worry about time if you're using phylactery. In fact, don't use the time elixir if you're going to use phylactery because you're going to die. It just takes all your health away. So it actually did 165 million damage on both attempts. Now, it's not scientific because we are using the Spear of Cataclysm, which means each attempt had different damage from spear strikes. So it's hard to say which one is technically better, but it looks like phylactery is performing about as well as a rank 4 ring. So rank 2 phylactery compared to rank 4 ring. Now, I took time off for my second profile. So this is my second profile. The last two attempts were my first profile. This is going to run through the stats so you can see what I'm working with on this one. And I've thrown in a couple of different units because I only had so many Crystal Spires. But again, we got the Frost Knights up front to apply freeze to as many targets as possible. And then reload and block on pretty much everything else. So since we are working with SR15 and we have 20% every 5 seconds, the block is crucial, especially if you're going to use time. Now, I did not use time on this attempt because I wanted to see if I could do it without it on my first go. And it would be totally dependent on spear strikes for that to happen. And even with a very solid spear strike, you see that hit almost every single minion there. I don't quite get it, I think. I'm pretty sure I come up short on this one. Yep. So instead of doing what you might be inclined to do is just quickly swipe and just finish it off, just make sure that you remove your elixirs before you do. Now this is what an attempt looks like without elixirs. Now look, I've got 8% left, but it takes forever to do it because I'm not using the Elixir of Accuracy, and we've got the Earthquake stunning my units half the time. But it's only 6% of the boss. I figured in 30 seconds my entire army could pull that off. So it's one spear strike is what saves my bacon there. I probably wouldn't have gotten it without that. So a little risky doing that, but certainly cheaper than doing another attempt with 2 elixirs. So then I add time and I'm able to get the one shot. So we'll just kind of skip through this real fast just so you can see. With a little bit of time to spare, 7 seconds left, much easier to get the kill when using time. And since I've got block on everything, I don't have to worry about the earthquake killing my stuff. Okay, for SR12, this will run through the stats for that. You'll see what we're working with there. 15% of max health, so a little less crucial. You can technically go the entire battle without dying, because I think that would be 9 times that would have to strike. So on the 10th time, you'd be toast, which means you'd have full 40 seconds. So I went all damage. I didn't use block at all. I figured if I can get the damage done in time, I don't need to use the time elixir, and I don't have to worry about the earthquake. I just have to have force resistance to keep my units from getting stunned. So as you can see, whatever damage zones I had, I used, and then reload wherever it'll go. I didn't bother using block on the Frost Knights. I went ahead and used speed just so that I can get to the targets faster and freeze them. And we'll let that one play out here. The Chaos Archers, I'm using them just because they're high level. And in fact, I'll show you the stats real quick for how much damage each of these units do compared to the others. But you'll notice that all the archers are attacking the frozen targets, which are in the front because that's what the Frost Knights are attacking and freezing. But the Chaos Archers, they walk into the big middle of everything and they shoot all the stuff that isn't frozen. So even if they get slightly comparable damage to the hammer throwers and the archers, they're going to target stuff that doesn't have the freeze debuff on it. So let's show you that real quick. This is something that I did. I went through and just for a simple calculation, I did the base damage times the number of units times the attack speed, and I divide that by the number of army points that it takes. So like for Celestial Spear, that's 3 army points, so that's dividing that between the number of army points to get that damage. So you can see there, archers, just your plain archers do the most damage. Crystal Spire, if it attacks 3 targets, does almost as much as your archers. Hammer throwers come in third, then Chaos Archers, and then Celestial Spear. So you can see which ones would be ideal to use. Obviously, if you have level 100 Chaos Archers, that's going to do better than level 70 normal archers. So cater to your unit levels, but also bear in mind that pound for pound, if you have level 100 on everything, then that's going to be the biggest bang for your buck is archers, Crystal Spire, then hammer throwers. Anything after that is just not going to make that much of a difference. The Warhounds and the Wraiths, yeah, they do more base damage, but with the Elixir of Accuracy, there's no competition. So I just thought I'd share that with you real fast. Let's see how we did on SR11. I did not... I did use time. And you'll notice on SR11 it's only 10% of max health. So when you go from SR11 to SR12, it adds 5%. Excuse me. So you'll notice that as I progressed through from profile to profile, I've been gravitating more of my ranged units up to the top. and that's because I can guarantee that they'll fire at these front units, whereas when I put the ranged units down here, they'd sometimes hit the units on the very bottom, which weren't frozen, which kind of nerfs their damage by taking off that 50% bonus from freeze. So let's see, just back up just a second. You'll notice that it was a close call. I had about 2 seconds left, and that's because I had some good spear strikes. So since it was a close call and that time elixir, even though I didn't need the time elixir this time, there's a very good high likelihood that I will need it from attempt to attempt, because if I don't get good spear strikes, that's just going to cost me another key, which if you buy the best bundle is 40 gems, and another 2 elixirs, which would be 30 gems. So that's 70 gems every time you fail, because you have to redo it. So it's just worth the 15 gems each time just to make sure that doesn't happen. So here's SR8. This is nothing above level 50. As you'll see here, not a single unit above level 50, and I've got a level 2 Frost Knight there, just to make sure that that main column, or the main Wicker totem, gets frozen. And that's helpful because that's the biggest target, so if your spear strikes anywhere in the vicinity, it will give you some extra damage. But yeah, nothing above level 50, and again, basically all the same power stones. I'm not using any block because there's no earthquake, so I just went ahead and put damage and reload on everything. So that was SR8, nothing above level 50. This was my most recent attempt. Again, just to reiterate, I moved all of my ranged units up to the top because it's more likely that they're going to hit frozen targets because of the way that they're situated and where the Frost Knights land. These Frost Knights, they're mostly there just to freeze as many targets as possible in the event that spear strikes that, so we get better coverage of freeze on the map. Anyway, that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Pretty straightforward, just kind of banking on that accuracy elixir to get us the kills, because that seems to be the best way to go now that Primal Warhorn's been nerfed. So thank you for watching. Again, please do like and subscribe. Check out the Command Table Discord channel, and help me get to 1,000 subscribers. I'm almost 2/3 of the way there. So that would be tremendously helpful for me. The goal obviously is 1,000. So thank you for watching, and we'll have more content for you very soon.